time ago, there was a farm. And on the farm was a barnyard. And in the barnyard, there was a little red hen. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. The little red hen spent most of her time walking about the barnyard in her pickety-peckety fashion, scratching for worms. She used her feet and her skinny chicken legs. Notice any resemblance? The little red hen dearly loved big, fat, juicy worms because she knew those worms were vital to the health of her children and also to herself. As many times as she found a worm, she would call out to her children, "Chuck, chuck, chuck!" And when she did, all of a sudden, all of her children were gathered round about her, flapping their wings and beep, 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 because they knew Mom had something for them to eat. She was a busy mom, not like the cat, who sat right next to the barn door with nothing to do. Because she knew there was a rat that she wasn't interested in that went back and forth looking for food. She could care less. Or the pig that was in the pigsty, and all he cared about was eating and getting fat. One day, the little red hen happened to walk about the barnyard, and she found something long and slender on the ground. Why, it was something she'd never seen before. So she picked it up. But she was circumspect in the fact that she wasn't going to eat it till she knew what it was. So she inquired about the barnyard to find out the origin of this seed. It was a wheat seed. And she found out, indeed, it was a wheat seed. And if she planted it, she could grow it into wheat, grind it down, and have bread for her babies, and also, even for the barnyard citizens. She got so excited, so she called out, surely, and reached out to the pig, the cat, and the rat. She says, "Who will help me plant the seed?" And the pig said, "Not I." And the cat said, "Meow, not I." And the rat said, "Not I." She says, "Well then, I guess I will." And she did. She planted the seed, and as summer came to the end, and the fall came, and the beautiful leaves and the wind blew across the barnyard, the pig got fatter, the cat got fatter, and the rat got fatter. But the wheat, it grew taller, and it was ready to harvest. And she knew it was time. And so she called out and she says, "Who will help me cut the wheat?" Hopefully this time they'll help her. The pig said, "Not I." The cat said, "Not I." And the rat said, powdering his nose, running around looking in the mirror at his belly, and says, "Not I." So the hen says, "Well then, I guess I will." And she did. She went to the barnyard and took a sickle from the farmer's tools. She got a ladder because she's so short. And she climbed up on the ladder and started cutting the wheat. She brought it down and threshed it as well and separated the seed from the wheat. She put it in her favorite red sack, and she knew the next step was for her to take the wheat to the mill. But she's so busy, and her children felt like they were being neglected, and they were beep, beep, beeping and saying to the world, "Mom is not taking care of us." And she felt so bewildered, poor little red hen. She didn't know what to do, whether to work and take care of the wheat or her babies. So surely this time, these animals would help her. So she calls out, "Who will help me take the wheat to the mill and ground it?" This time the pig was scratching his back up against the fence, and he goes, "Not I!" And the cat was following suit, scratching his back against the fence. It says, "Hell, you asking me again? Not I!" And then the little rat said, "Not I!" So she says, "Well, I guess it's up to me. I will then." But before she did, she fed her babies because she was a good mom. And she put them down and kissed them and says, "I'll be back soon." She grabs the big red sack and slowly walks towards the mill in her pickety-peckety fashion. She makes it to the mill, and she orders fine ground wheat, beautiful white wheat like sand. And when he presents it, he puts it into the sack and gives it back to the little red hen. She pays the miller, and she's off again, pulling that sack in her pickety-peckety fashion. But on the way, she found a worm. She had a snack, and then she found another one for her babies. And that's what brought her the enthusiasm, knowing that she was almost there, and she could make it to the farm. When she got there, she could see her babies out playing around, and she calls for them, "Chuck, chuck, chuck." And all of a sudden, the babies come gathering around them, and they had got bigger, and for the first time, they appreciated their mom. She fed them, and then the fall wind and the sunset heralded the sky, and it was time for bed, and she was so tired. She wanted to go to bed early because it had been a long day. She went to bed, but the morning came too quick because her babies were singing with the hens. And she opens one eye and says, "Oh gosh, can I just have one more moment?" But no, they were still peeping. So she gets up and she starts thinking about her day, and she says, "I've got to make the bread. Surely those animals will help me this time." So she goes out in the morning and she says, "Who will help me make the bread?" By this time, the animals turn their backs to her, and the pig says, "Not I." And the cat said, "Hell, not today, not I." And the rat, powdering his nose, running back and forth, says, "Not I." So the little hen knew it was morning, and she had more energy than she did yesterday, so she says, "Okay, well, I will then." And she did. What she did, she put on a fresh apron and a clean cap. She pulled out the wheat. She prepared the dough. She pulled the molding tins and also the baking bread. She divided the dough, and then she put it into the oven. All the while, the cat was snickering and laughing at her, knowing that the bread was coming soon. All of a sudden, within moments, as she was waiting, a magical moment appeared. Aroma came out of the stove, and it saturated and filled the whole barnyard. And she knew it was time. The beeper went off. The bread was done. She pulled out beautiful baked bread. She was so excited. She was the most excited animal in the farm. And she called out 7 words she wished she could have pulled back in her mouth. She says, "Who will help me eat the bread?" By that time, all of the barn animals were smacking their lips. The pig said, "I will." The cat said, "No, I will." And the rat said, "I will." But the hen said, "No, you won't. I will." And it was good. And she did. Moral of the story, when you work as a team, you get a piece of the bread. Mr. Toastmaster.